Hey there viewers, and welcome back. Today in this video we're going to take a look at valve service in your Honda GC series of engine. So a couple things to be aware of. One, the price of this motor. So if you have it tore apart and you see it needs major, catastrophic repairs or something like that in the cylinder head, let's be realistic here, folks. You're not going to take it to a machine shop. You're going to replace the engine. Okay? So we'll have a video here later on how to put your valves back in. Most people can figure that out. We'll have that posted for you here a little bit later. But once you got everything apart, you got everything cleaned up, we're going to take a look at the seat on the cylinder head. Jug, whatever you want to call it, and the face of your valve. So we're going to give it a cursory inspection. It can be dirty, that's fine. These have obviously already been cleaned. If there's any chunks missing, erosion or anything like that, just junk the valves. I want to say they're about $8 a piece, and for less than 20 bucks you can put new valves in your motor. The part we're concerned about on the block is the press in, and we'll zoom in here in just a moment, the pressed in steel seats in the block. So if those are trashed, it's probably worth it, just buy a motor. If they're kind of crappy looking, maybe got some corrosion or something on them, we're going to clean that up when we do the valve lap activity here. We're going to use some grinding compound. The grinding compound, it's decent, it's not bad. It's Permatex 39835. So if you can find the Briggs & Stratton with the 2 grits in it, it's actually, I like it. It's just a better product, but we're not endorsing anybody here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this engine. All right, the part we are of concern on these valves obviously is how much wear, and you can kind of see the 2 spots getting your way here a little bit. That's kind of here and here. So if this part's chewed up on either of these valves, it's probably time to replace the valves. These are virtually brand new, so they're in good shape. The same with the exhaust. Usually the exhaust takes a little bit more wear than the intake. The other part we want to look at is the face of the valve, which is I realize this is not a real pin. Let's be realistic, folks. These valves have already been lapped. I've already done the demo on this, or kind of shooting the video here after the fact, but it's all cool. This is kind of what you want them to look like when you're finished up with your service. So a nice, clean, well-defined grind area, and then you'll see the same on the engine block. Okay, so our process is pretty straightforward. If you look at the ports on the side of your engine, the exhaust valve is round. I have the 2 bolts left in it, and the intake side is square. So it's pretty important to lap the correct valve into the correct hole, if you will. So the intake valve is a lot lighter duty. It's got a dished head on it. The intake valve is actually smaller, and it's more of a solid piece of metal, if you will. So I'm going to take a little of this Luber plate from Napa, not a sponsor of the show, and I'm just going to do the exhaust because it shows the most effect here. And at this point, with a little bit of grease, I can usually just kind of do the old schmooze on. And I don't have a ton of problems with these. Now that I said that on camera, we're going to have a ton of problems with it. I will take my lube. I would not use wheel bearing grease or anything like that for this, just FYI. So we're going to put some lubrication there, and then we're going to put some grinding compound on the face here of this valve. So just like the dentist, less is more, or Charmin, however you want to look at this. We don't want to put too much on that, but that should pretty much be enough for what we're trying to do. Then all we're going to do is we're going to slide over here. And I've kind of got the motor propped up so it doesn't fall over. It's kind of hard to do on this type of a setup, but we're going to do like we're starting a campfire here, and then we're going to make sure that we tap it and turn it 90 degrees. If I just sit here and spin it, you can listen to the difference in the grinding compound. It just kind of goes away, so I'll let you listen. So you can kind of hear it wear out, and then if I just do the tap with it, you can hear it kind of renews. I do turn it 90 degrees each time that I do this, approximately. I want to do this, 9 or 10 times for each valve. Alright, so you're going to do the exact same with the intake. Get in there. There we go. One other thing, if your sticker, your little handle gets pops off the valve, just clean the face of the valve, or the head of the valve rather. Oh, can't use words today. And the bottom of this guy, just get them all cleaned up good, and it'll restick. If you just restick it, then it's going to have grinding compound underneath it. Good luck, not going to work. And this is what your valves should look like when they're all finished up. We'll get you some, it's as much enhanced as you're going to get. You can see that nice clear defined line. What we're going to do next is we're going to clean the seats on the cylinder head up just with a rag, and we'll flush it out with some lacquer thinner or some brake clean. So I take the rag and I wrap it, probably maybe try a clean side. It's just a paper towel. And I'm going to get as much grit as I can out of here. You can kind of see you get quite a bit, so we'll go to another clean spot. When we're done with this, we'll just take some brake clean and a pipe cleaner to get that all cleaned up good inside. So I'll probably just use lacquer thinner because I have that in a squeeze bottle. So we want to do this a couple of times and then not reuse this rag. You know, whatever, just get a different paper towel so we're not recontaminating the stuff we've already cleaned. Alright, so next up, what we're going to do, just give that the rinsey poo, clean rag. I'll wad that up. You can use brake clean if you want. It actually works really well for this job. And you can kind of see the crapolas we're getting out of there. Flush that a little more. Maybe you can kind of can see that. Get some light down in there. You'll have to, excuse me, I'm using a little bit different camera this time. Manual focus, of course, so it's a little bit more of a challenge. You cannot monitor yourself because somebody forgot the USB cable for the camera, so you never know quite what the camera's going to see. And next up, I'm going to take this pipe cleaner, I'm going to fold it in half. A little bit of a twist in it. Okay, I'm going to rinse in here, and then I'm going to soak in here. Hopefully you can see that. You should be able to see that. And then I'm just gonna, oh boy, maybe we're not gonna, there we go. And then we're just gonna swab that out good. If you don't do this, you can seriously ruin the motor with that valve grinding compound grit stuff in there. So we just want to make sure that that's thoroughly flushed out good. And if there's a little bit in the cylinder, that's fine. We're gonna wipe that out and oil it a little bit later, but we don't want it in the valve area. Bad things will happen. Alright, everything looks good. This came out nice and clean. The next thing that we're going to do, just put some lacquer thinner on a rag or brake clean, whatever your choice of solvents is, and we're just going to wipe these valves down good. Everything's clean on them, and they're pretty much ready to be installed. I would, and you can probably figure that out. I'll have another video a little bit later on where we'll be leak checking the cylinder. We're going to put the valves back together and make sure everything holds water, things like that. Lastly, if you're wondering what the red tips are, it's so somebody don't steal my valves, you know, my nice clean ones, and swap them out with theirs. So these valves came from this engine. I want them to go back into this engine. Okay folks, well there you got it. So that's our valve service. That's all we need to do. If you want to put them back in, the installation is pretty much the exact backwards of how you took them out. Again, we'll have that in a little bit of a different video. It's about all I have to say on it. So that being said, thanks for watching.